What up? What up? What
What
up?
up, man? We are
Hey,
official. That was, man, that was cool. Like
I
we're getting
know
real high tech.
that was like we was tunneling to another place. We
Yeah,
was gonna teleport somewhere.
yeah. I didn't know what was about to happen. I had to sit back for a minute and just chill out.
Shout out to my good friend John Caputo for turning us on to this platform. He stopped by the office today, and shout out to Hope Shot. Uh, really, and that's what recovery's about. Is us sharing good ideas, and I was feeding him, and he fed us today. So, shout out! I just want to say shout out to them for that,
Yeah,
because
absolutely. Yeah,
um,
because man, I feel like we're doing something cool, countdown and all that stuff. But hey, I do have to tell you though, I apologize in advance if I sneeze or something like that. Like I was telling you earlier, my allergies are really bad right now. So
yeah,
excuse me if I sneeze while we're live.
no worries, no worries. So, what's going on, brother?
Man, I can't call it. It was a busy week. Um, Seemed like I was constantly behind all week long, but keep chugging on, keep chugging on forward. That's for sure.
Yeah,
You got to do what you got to do, right?
yeah. I feel like I had a very eventful week. I was a road runner this week, so and it's all good. It's all good. A little tired, but it's a good tire.
Yeah,
Um, because it was all about recovery this week, and all about meeting some of the key players in the state of Florida that has a play into just treatment and a recovery, and you know but it was good, man. It was good. It was good. It was good. I think we got some great people in places in the state of Florida to move this recovery thing, and I think in the next couple of years, you know, there are going to be some changes in the state of Florida, by just that Senate Bill 282, which should be getting signed next week or the week after, whenever Governor DeSantis want to sign that bill. It's going to go in law in January. I'm excited because right now there's not a lot of peers out there, you know, um, and um, peers are what it is to get this work done. And I can't do my job without peers. And peers are the ones out there with the lived experience that can go out there and help somebody, and that's the
right.
beauty of it. Um, and I'm glad some change happened because they were tightening the regulations on it and stopping people from becoming certified peers. But you know, I say this to all my people that want to be peers and want to get in this. The opportunity is here, and like anything, when the opportunity comes, you got to go and excel in that. Don't make people a liar that advocated for this. Don't be that bad apple. Don't go out there and do some stuff you ain't got no business doing. So, uh, because now it's about to once this thing go live in July, it's about to open the door for a lot of people to become certified peers. So which we needed. So I'm excited about that. I really am. I'm so excited, um, because I turned away a lot of great people that want to be peers and wanted to help, but they couldn't because they had a messed up background, and we
Yeah.
can't,
Well,
when you
and I think I wanted to stop you for a minute because I think maybe for people that are listening, when you say peers, you don't mean just peers. You mean people that are wanting to be peer specialists,
yeah, certified peers,
peer
yes,
certified peer specialists
right,
in the field.
yes,
Not just me and you. Well, I
yeah,
mean, not, but you know what I mean. Like not just people that are also in recovery. It's a certification that they
right,
get.
yeah. and and
And
and then and then too, what it do, man, it gets people careers. That's what it do. It gets people careers where they can go out there and make a competitive wage, and get with an agency and get some benefits, and start doing something that you love to do, because we
yeah,
all got a passion for helping people. We all got a passion for this. and now, you know, you can get paid to doing it and get
Yeah.
some good wages doing it.
Well,
So
and that's the key too. Is once that door opens, right, and more people are able to get their foot in the door, then the wages become different, right? Right. So then there's more. You have more of an employee pool to pick out of, right?
right.
So then it becomes more. And I don't want to say so much competitive, but when you have more people to choose from, that helps all around, right? And
Right.
then that helps with the wages, right? It makes the wages go up, so then you're able to earn a better living, right, than when you just started out because there's options,
Hmm.
and that's a big thing, right? Right now we don't have any options, right? We have to wait, and we're at the mercy of the state, for giving us an exemption, and how long does that process take, right?
Right.
That's not an easy process to go through.
Right.
Um, well, then and then what happens then is people they get complacent in waiting, right? And they're like, well, why even bother? You know what I mean? If I can't do it because of my felonies, I might as well just stay doing what I'm doing, you
Right.
know,
Yeah.
and that's not good.
And that's what it was too, man. You know, a lot of people got turned away from working in this field, and uh, they couldn't get jobs, anywhere else. So a lot of people, and more, I can't, most people went back to what was, a familiar. They knew
Right,
where they knew where they were accepted, and so I'm so glad that this legislation and this bill is gonna, you know, open the door for people to be accepted now,
right,
and not be ostracized by their past. Because man, the old way was they were looking at 40 years. People that had, man, they went all the way back to,
yeah,
when you were 17 and stole something out of Dollar General. And that was, what they was going all the way back. And man, and when do we recover? That's the
right.
thing is, when do we recover? And I'm so glad that, shout out to Senator Rusan and uh, Representative Federhoff for really, putting their heads together, and especially Senator Rusan, because man, he tried this for like 4 years, man. This been going. He been championing this bill for 4 years, well, 3 years, and finally this year, and we were in the room. Recovery was in the room. Recovery had a lot. People, the recovery community had a lot to do with that bill, and at the time when I went down there on the first committee, I had no idea that this thing was really, 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 um, you know, I knew it was big, but when I first time I went down there for that committee, I was like, man, hey, I'm in the room. I might go ahead and show up and show out.
Yeah,
So, but now understanding it and really, man, the recovery community was part of history. You know, we were part of history in this thing because you can go back and look, and every time I stood behind that podium, I had the voice of recovery, and I shout out the recovery community. I shout out everybody that was back there that couldn't get into couldn't get a background pass, or couldn't get in the field to be a certified peer. I had all those people pushing me in my back,
yeah,
and it was standing up there really pouring my heart out, and talking to these senators and representatives, so that bill can get through that committee, can get through this committee, and then just to see it go on the floor, and then see you know everybody got um they all stood behind it, all the politicians stood behind it. So that was monumental, and that's so you know and that's what it's about too, man, really. And when you get to the big stage, and your recovery start doing things for you, you know um it's not about Robert anymore. you know it's about a lot of other people out there, because you know if I stand up there and think it's all about me, I'm doing it for the wrong reasons. And
right,
so if we think that way as people in recovery, and keep ourselves um straight, and think about other people's, I always say that. You hear me say it on groups. I'm always thinking about the person that's still using. I'm always thinking about those folks. I'd rather have them in our group. I'd rather have a person that's still in the addiction in our group than because they're gonna catch something one day and we planting seeds and that thing gonna grow. And because it's man, stuff gotta change. Stuff gotta change, and there's some people at the top that really, really, really want to hear the voice of recovery. And we saw that on Wednesday that, you know, it was so surreal. I was sitting in the room with the DCF secretary, and sitting in the room with the drug czar for the state of Florida. And I looked in the room, and everybody that was in there, we were all people in recovery, you know, and just many years ago, we all had a story. And we could have told our past, boy, look, it probably blew their socks off, but we were there. And, you know, but we were there for our community, for the recovery community, man. It was so surreal. So, you know, and that's what it's about, man. And, and that's what it's about is if more people get fired up for this thing and get fired up really about their recovery and get fired up about issues, you know, we could start seeing change in the state of Florida. You know, it's sad that somebody dropped a stat on me. Was it yesterday or the day before? Somebody said Florida is the leading state for overdoses. I said, what? I said,
yeah, that's kind of crazy.
Right. You know, and it's crazy, man. It's crazy because, you know, it's man, we got so much stuff in the state of Florida, man. And so much different drugs and all that. We just got so much in the state of Florida that is, you know, it's harder. It's not impossible for someone to get recovery, but it sure is, you know, there's a lot of barriers for them.
Yeah.
Because like I said, I was talking to somebody, I think of me and you last week, I was saying that the drug dealers are bold now. Man, they're gonna find you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. Yeah, and Jillian is right. Florida is the party capital. I was looking at on the news that they're getting ready for spring break. People coming down to Florida just for spring break. And you know, how many of those people that bring drugs down here? You know, there's a lot of people coming here for the wrong reason. They coming down here to make money. You know, so yeah, man. But yeah, I'm fired up for it. Fired up. I was a little tired, man, but I'm fired up about it, man. And really, man, is man, this thing is man, this movement is getting bigger. People are wanting to listen to people in recovery. So if you listen to me right now, that don't think that you're doing this, you know, your recovery don't matter. Your recovery matter. Your voice matter. Because the people at the top want some answers. They want they want solutions. And you know, like I said, man, we were all just people in recovery, sitting there talking to the DCF secretary, talking to the drug czar. Man, there wasn't nobody in there from out of recovery. It was all people in recovery, and the language that we were talking was recovery language.
Yeah, but you know what the problem there is. I mean, we were talking about it a minute ago. Problem there is people in recovery don't want to talk about. They don't want to talk about stuff while they're in recovery. You know what I mean? It's hard to get people to. It's hard to get people to open up and be uncomfortable talking about issues and what's going on in their life and things like that to help sustain their recovery, right? So how do you get that? I mean, all that other stuff is great, right? I mean, and it's going to change a lot of things for a lot of people, but you have to get them there, right? We have to get them to that point. So how do we do that? You know, how do we get people to really open up now and recover out loud, right? Like that's where we got to get to.
I was, you know, something. And you know something, I was getting ready to say we got to start recovering out loud. And you know something, what I love about Facing the Voices is they want people to recover out loud. We got to stop, man. We got to stop this anonymity. We got to stop this, man. Anonymity is killing people. We got to stop it. You know, start telling the good stuff. That's why the recovery on the square is going to be so important, is because we're going to get up there and we're going to tell our stories. We're going to tell all the good stuff. We're going to tell what recovery is doing in our life. We're going to tell all that because you know what? All those people that's in positions to make decisions, they only see the gruesome stuff.
Right.
They
That's
only
all they
see,
hear about.
they only see that, and that's what they get in their reports is, how many people dying, what they got in their system. They have polysubstances, or they have so much fentanyl. They got this in their system, and so, but they don't hear the voice of recovery, and so, and these people want to hear from you. They want to hear from us,
Right.
And why not? Because
Yeah.
because one of the things that we were talking to the drugs are about was, we need to be at the table. A recovery need to be at the table. He said, I agree. He said, because I got prevention, I got treatment, but I need recovery there. For so long, it was prevention and treatment there, and then there was nobody from recovery there. And and that's why recovering out loud is so important, because they got to hear how we are living our life in recovery. They need to hear how you got your card. They need to hear how
that comes back to, how do we get them to recover out loud? That's where it all starts, right? I mean, all that, like, again, I'll say it again, all that other stuff is great, having recovery at the table, but none of that matters if you can't get people to even talk about what they're going through, right? Like, if you can't get anybody to open up and talk and not be ashamed of everything that's going on, that's happened in their life, right? Because that's what it is. A lot of it is they're ashamed or embarrassed. But there's nothing more. You don't have to be embarrassed about that anymore, right? Because now you're trying to build a better life for yourself. So stop living under a rock and being buried by that. The rock is like all that trauma and all that other that bad stuff, that stigma, that shame, all that stuff, right? That's the rock. And you have to get that stuff off, because none of the other stuff, you won't ever experience any of the other stuff that you're talking about, right? Until you do, and until you can start opening up in meetings, on peer groups, whatever the case may be. Because if you can't open up to people that are also going through the same stuff as you, you're never going to be able to open up to the head of anything in Florida, representatives, or, what I mean? Like, you'll never be able to go and help fight with that bill or talk to those people about it. You'll barely be able to get through the door of the next meeting.
Right.
You put yourself in jeopardy by staying closed off and under that rock.
But how we get more people to recover out loud is by what me and you doing, by being on here and showing people that, hey, we're just two people in recovery, just having a dialogue, having communication, and then too is how you get people to come out there by our event that we having in June, having more and more of those events in our community. It got to start small before you get to the big stage. Yes, I'm doing this now in my recovery, but this started back in 2017 when I started making these videos on Facebook Live and started telling my story. So all that I did back in 2017 got me to this point. So there's a starting point for everyone, and you don't know where this is gonna take you. And prime example, I was sitting in the office today, and one of my peers, one of my recoveries up in North Carolina, sent me a text, say, "Hey, guess what today is?" I knew it was close to her anniversary when she got to recovery. So I said, "Yeah, it's about 5 months." No, I said 6 months. She said, "No, it ain't. It's 4 months." And she laughed. But she said, "Guess what? I just got asked to ride along with the community paramedics as a peer." And I said, "Now this is now this is a person that 4 months ago overdosed. This is a person that was in treatment." And then I told her, I said, "Look how recovery is working for you. Look how it's doing. And you're 4 months in and you're already getting these opportunities, and so, and by that, and she could have said, "No, I don't want to do this. I'm not ready for this." She signed up for it. Said, "Yeah, let's do it." And, and that's another thing too, is, when opportunity comes, you got to walk through that door, because you don't know where that opportunity is going to lead you. And And the thing is that there's a lot of people opening the doors for you. There's a lot of people open the doors for recovery. There's a lot of people open the doors for people to do stuff in recovery. It's not that back in the days where you just go to a meeting and you work with whoever and that's it. No, there's more stuff that you can do in your recovery, and it start local. It start local. By y'all doing that car wash, that's showing something in the community. Y'all doing that. I had no say so with that.
Yeah, I heard about that. I heard you don't want no part of it.
No, because
you said let them bump their head. That's what I was told.
No, because if I do it, then I'm taking it away from y'all. I'm taking away from the ones that's in the shell, and that's teaching y'all how to plan. That's teaching y'all how to get out there in the community. That's teaching y'all to really, be a present in your community. And if I do it, I'm robbing you all.
You know what's funny is, I mean, because I know how to plan events. I mean, I can do it all day long, right? I mean, it's not a problem. Somebody said to me, "Well, what if nobody shows up to help?"
Okay.
Well, I'm washing a lot of cars then. You know what I mean? Like, what? I don't know what that has to do with me. I'm still going to put on an event whether anybody shows up or not. Like, I'm doing my part, and I'm going to show up, right? So if other people don't want to show up and show out, so to say, that's on them. But I'm not going to control. I'm not going to sit there and worry about that. Like, because what good is that going to do me? Then what? So what? Because nobody's going to show up. I shouldn't try to do events like that, or I shouldn't put myself out there. No, I can't do that. You know what I mean? That's the old Phil. That's the old Phil that would just be complacent and give up because nobody said they want to come help me wash cars, so I'm just not going to do it now.
Right.
No, my follow through game is strong today. You know what I mean? I don't start something that I'm not going to finish. That's for sure. The old me was I'd give up and run right back to them old behaviors and go back to my comfort zone. You know what I mean? Of whatever it was, just to avoid letdown or disappointment or nobody else is there to help me. No, I'm not going to do that. You know what I mean? Like a lot of times too, doing events like this sometimes is a good way to find out who's really there, right? Who's really about their recovery, right? Because the ones that do show up are about it. They're the ones that I want to surround myself with, right? They're the ones that, hey, if they're out here showing up on a Saturday to help wash a car, they're about their recovery. You know what I mean? Like they want to be a part of something.
Right.
And that's who I'm gonna stick by. That's who the people I'm going to bat for.
And the thing is too is that you never know who car you're gonna wash. You
Absolutely.
never know, that may be somebody that's coming up there that just came from a night of using, that may somebody that just came, you never know. I remember we did our recovery walk, and I was nervous that nobody was gonna show up. But then when people showed up, it was people, like Mary said, it was amazing. But moms got touched. I started talking to moms. I started talking to people that voices was never heard, and they had an opportunity that day to let some emotions out and let their voice heard. And so I walked away from that saying, hey, if you plan it, they will come.
Right.
You got to, Robert, stop, get out of the way, and it's not about you. This thing is bigger than you. And if we all think about this in our recovery, is something. Someone told me this. Someone said, you got an opportunity in this day and age. You have an opportunity, because the leading cause of death right now is overdoses, not car accidents, not all that stuff that was back in the 90s. It's overdoses. It's people dying from opiate use disorder, from overdoses. And so but for us that's still here and doing recovery, we have an opportunity to do a lot of great things, because a lot of people didn't get that opportunity. And what are you going to do with your opportunity?
Right.
What are you going to do with your opportunity?
And what's funny? That made me just think about, early recovery there. You have to be selfish. You have to be selfish with it, right? That's fine in the beginning, right? Because that's a way of protecting yourself against things that might try to pull you back out there, right? But at a certain point in your recovery, being selfish has to turn into being selfless, right? You have to be willing to give back. You know what I mean? Because there's no sense in me just recovering for myself anymore, right? It's not just about me anymore, right? There's people that are still out there that are going through a lot of the things that I went through or that you went through or anybody that's watching this went through, right? And we have an obligation to show them that great things are possible,
Right.
one day at a time, right? It's not all unicorns and sprinkles. It's not. It's a life. But you have people that will stand next to you and go through all that stuff. And
Right.
and when you fall, pick you back up and brush you off. It's about developing those relationships and that support network around you that is untouchable. You know what I mean? Like that they have got your back. And I feel like people get stuck with the selfish part of the recovery, right? Like, oh,
Mm.
it's for me, it's for me, it's for me. And again, I get that early on, right? Because you don't know how to live your life at that point still. You're still kind of figuring things out. But man, if you get 6 months, a year into this thing and you're not ready to start giving back, you got to do some more. You got to do some more soul searching, right? Because why would you want people to still go through the same things that you went through?
And,
Right, I see
and
you.
and the thing is, Phil, that you know we got to and we got to do this peer to peer. We got to go back into those areas and go back to our fellow man or woman that's still out there using and say, look, I get you,
Right,
but let me help you. I'm not going to change you, but let me guide you to the right place where you can get
right.
some help. And I'm not going to and then it's not just leaving them there. It's
Yeah,
then checking on them and
yeah,
keep and then keep up with them. You know, I can name 10 people right now that can use my assistance right now.
sure.
You know, and probably everybody that's on here, there's 5 people watching, they can name 10 people that can use their assistant right now. And that's how it all starts. That's how it all starts is and we're on a great topic because I have seen a lot of people that got their recovery and that's it for them.
Right,
That's
that's
it.
it. Yeah,
That's
they don't
it.
care about nothing else.
And we can't do that today. We cannot
No,
do that today because people are dying in by the dozens.
right.
People are
And
overdosing by the dozens.
and
And
and not everybody is built for like what me and you might be doing in recovery, right? Um, Not everybody's built for that, right? Well, everybody's different. But if you don't at least attempt to break out of that selfish behavior, right? And sponsor somebody, mentor somebody, whatever. Just be friends with somebody that is new coming in to recovery. You're doing yourself a total disservice, right? Because it's humbling and it's noble, right? I mean, and that's kind of what we all want to be better people, right? So at some point, you need to start being a better person. And if that's helping the next person coming in behind you, whatever it is, getting them a cup of coffee, giving them a cigarette if they don't have one, whatever the case may be, it's all starts somewhere, right?
I heard the great.
And
Go
go
ahead.
ahead. No, you go.
I'm sorry, but nah, something
You cut
popped
me
in me
off.
because man, this is a great topic. I heard somebody say this, and was it yesterday or the day before? Man, people tell me a lot of things, and I
Yeah,
don't know if it was yesterday or the day before last week, but somebody said the good book say love your neighbor as yourself.
right.
That what the good book say, and I don't know if you believe in the good book, but that means okay, I'm recovered.
Right.
I need to go back to my neighbor, and I'm not talking about your physical neighbor, or maybe your physical neighbor because your neighbor may be selling dope out the house or using. I don't know. Because look, we gotta stop saying that it's all in the hood and it's all in the. You may live
No,
in a
it's
gated
everywhere.
community, and your neighbor may be, abusing her prescription or his prescriptions, and they may be on opiates. So
Right.
right, so but the good books say love your neighbor as yourself. So that means that okay, I'm recovered. I need to go back and grab my neighbor. I need to go back there and I need to say, hey, hey, my name is Robert. I'm a person in long-term recovery, man. Look, hey, I'm not trying to tell you how to live your life, but look, I know where you can, I know where you can get some help. And look, I'm gonna walk with you and look, I'm gonna see it that we get you onto a road to recovery. And and not push them, and not force them, you know, plant that seed and then and then watch that seed grow. I guarantee you that person gonna come back to you and say, I need some help. You know, I need it. I'm tired of this. I've seen it happen so many times that I just went in there and just told a person my story and told them who I was and what I came from and what I've done. And about a couple weeks later, I got the phone call. Hey, I'm ready. I need some help. And I'm saying, come on then.
Yeah.
I'll wait. And then my next thing, I'll wait for you to call me.
Yeah.
Because as I always say, and we got to put ourselves back in the addiction and back when we were in substance use, and I can only speak for me. I always said, man, I don't know why I'm doing this. I need some help. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of this. But back then, I didn't know who to turn to.
Right.
Now we got an army full of people in recovery, and people still don't know who to turn to. There's so many people in recovery. Why is that? People don't know where to go when they want to get recovery, and the reason why is we don't recover out loud. Something. It's fine to post all these great quotes about a recovery. This. I want to hear your voice. I want to hear your story. I want to hear where you came from and what you're doing now. Stop with all these quotes and posts. I could put a quote up there, and a drug dealer could put a quote. The drug dealer could put a quote. And I want to hear from your voice, and people need to see you. We are a generation now that we got to see it.
It's visual.
And we are in a generation. We are in a generation now that they don't have to physically meet you. You can use your platform. You can use your social media, and who cares if you get 6 likes? Who cares if you get 10 comments? Just because you don't know where that's gonna hit somebody. You don't know what timeline that's gonna hit somebody. Somebody may be on their last, somebody may be about to put a needle in their arm, and you pop up on their timeline and you telling your story, and that person said, I know Robert.
Right.
Oh man, let me take this bit off my arm and let me go and call him. You just don't know, but we don't give that opportunity. So
it's like that lady that called you that one night.
Right. We gotta start recovering out loud. And Mary, it did make a great point. I had a lady that called me one night, 11:30, and I wasn't gonna answer the phone because it was 11:30, but I answered the phone, and it was an older lady, and she was about to kill herself. And I talked to her. I found out where she was. I sent the sheriff. I sent the sheriff department out there to see her. They did a wellness check, and that was it. The sheriff called me back, said, "Hey, we got her, and we taking her to wherever facility. I ain't gonna disclose that, but and then about a couple months later, I was talking to this lady on the phone. And this lady was telling me the story, and she was, I was trying to help her, and she was trying to help her apply for disability. She started telling me, and she said, one night I was about to kill myself, and I called, and this gentleman sent the sheriff out me. I said, where are you from? And she told me. I said, I was that guy. And when she told me, I was crying because that lady was about to take her life. And she called, and I picked the phone up.
Right.
And I was in bed, and I picked the phone up. And you never know. You never know. We got to stop wanting results. We are gonna get so tired of. We want to see people. We want to see our success, or we want to see what people are doing. And no. Just plant the seed.
Yeah.
Plant the seed. It's gonna grow regardless.
Yeah, as long as you keep watering it, you know what I mean.
Right.
You can't put a seed in the ground and not do anything, right? You got to water it. You got to fertilize it. You got to, and that's the only way it's going to grow, right? And I had something right before you said plant the seed, and then you got me kind of stuck. But like, I know what it was, right? So what we're doing, right? What you do professionally, and us being on here and this whole recovery and having an RCO and stuff like that, right? it's unfortunately it's an unfortunate side of helping people and talking about recovery is you're not going to be able to save everyone, right? And
No.
that's part of that what you were saying about that you everybody wants the reward right side of it, but it's not always going to happen, right? You're not going to save everybody, you're not going to be able to help every single buddy, but it's the ones that you do that that's what really keeps should be motivating you to keep going, right? Because you
Hmm.
can't look at every failure or person that doesn't want to change or doesn't want it. You never know what seed you planted in them, right? Even
Hmm.
though maybe it didn't work out and they went back out or whatever the case may be, you never know, 5 years later they might be back right in front of you again
Right.
or in front of somebody else and be like, you know what, I remember that time when Philip said something to me about changing my behaviors or something, and that's what clicks, right? And that's what it's really all about, right? Because you can't expect for everyone to get this, right?
Right.
Because it's not something. Because if there was, we've talked about this before, we've said it 100 times. If there was a magic pill that helped fix addiction, we wouldn't even be on here talking right now,
Right.
right? We would have nothing to say, right?
Hmm.
We'd just like, oh, just go to Walgreens and pick up your prescription for your magic pills,
Hmm.
right? But that's just not the case. Um, but what we do have is we do have the ability to give a lot of magic information, I guess you could say, on recovery and how it's working in our lives and the things that we did to get where we're at, right? And that's
Right.
what it's all about. Sharing
Yeah.
those experience, strength, and hope is a wonderful, wonderful thing. And I saw somebody said that in the comments. Is learning from those people that have came before me. Um, on what to do and what not to do, right? It
Right.
works both ways,
Yeah.
right? You see things in people and you're like, okay, I don't want to be like that, but I do want to be like this, and you figure out what works best for you, right? That's how you're gonna have success in your recovery, is figuring out what works best for you. I can't recover the way Rob recovers.
Right.
If I try to do that, I'm in trouble, right?
Hmm.
Because what your standards are and mine, they might be similar, but we have different approaches on how to get to them, right? And it might not work for me.
Right.
But so finding that balance of what works best for you and not being concerned with what Rob, I can't concern myself with how Rob's doing his recovery and what he's doing. I got to concern myself with me and what works best for me.
But not doing anything while your fellow man and woman is dying.
Right.
That is just
Selfish.
that is not right.
Yeah,
You
it's
know,
selfish. It's selfish to keep the
right.
information that we have and not
It,
share about that stuff. Like it's
because
just
the thing is, Phil, that I remember when I first started getting into it when I was in early recovery and back in 2017, and when the pills and opiates was really sky high. They were trying to shut down the pill mills. There was there was a lot of people out there recovering out loud. There was recovery everywhere. I'm talking about, it was screaming out people's ears. Then I started seeing it started wearing down because we started getting accustomed to people dying. We started getting
right.
accustomed. Then when COVID happened, it just paused everything. People just
Yeah.
started, because that knocked everybody's socks off. We got something in the air that's taking people's life. And then we forgot. And then we forgot as people in recovery, because I understand we were trying to save ourselves from COVID. I totally understand. And yes, and we shift, and we shift how we do recovery now. You can do it virtually now. You don't got to see everybody face to face. We do that. But addiction went up.
Yeah.
And,
Death
and,
went
and
up.
then addiction went up, and addiction, it just went up, and it's still going up. And recovery's still down here.
Right.
So
Well,
that's
and you know what?
one thing.
I feel like a lot of that has to do with, you know, me, and I love Zoom. I love doing our peer-to-peer meetings and stuff like that, right? But at some point, that only works so well if you don't get yourself involved, right, with the people that you're on these meetings and stuff with, right? You have to have human connection, right? That's the only way to keep things progressing, right? You can't just I can't stay locked in my house and expect to be able to help people just off a computer screen, right? I mean, I know that I can, in certain ways, but at some point in time, there has to be that connection, right? And if that's getting involved or just getting out of your comfort zone and going and trying different things, whatever it is, right? You got to be willing to do that, to get involved in something. And and Anna, I just see this thing posted up here. Anna just said she needs her car washed. I got you. I got you on the 19th. I'll wash your car. But you know, that coming out to that, right? Coming out to that event is getting involved, right? Whether you're there to get your car washed or whether you're there to help wash a car. Either way, you know, you have to have some connection to people. Like you have to.
And then too, you know, we got to be visible. We
Yeah,
got to be
absolutely.
visible. We got to be visible. The recovery community got to be visible. People got to see the fruits of your labor. The people got to see what's going on, because as I said before, is they're only seeing the horror. They're only seeing people breaking the law. They're only seeing that so and so just stole something out of Dollar General, and now they stand up there with a mugshot, and their face is all pimpled out from meth picking. And that's what they're seeing. And
Right.
that's what the news and the newspaper are blasting the community. And that's all they're seeing. And so and then they're not seeing recovery. Nobody
Right.
is talking about recovery. That's what getting me on this live tonight is, and that's why and that's what I'm going after is everybody know about treatment and prevention, but no one is coming out and talking about recovery.
Right. And that's our job, right?
Right,
As people in recovery. That's
That's
our
our
responsibility to do that. Like,
Right.
because unfortunately, you know, and I know, right? There is no news outlets. I mean, it goes all the way to the top, right? There's always like that propaganda. There's always things like, because I'm not getting into politics or anything like that, right? But there's always another narrative that these outlets are pushing, right? And a lot of times maybe it is, you know, they're trying to push the treatment and the treatment facilities, and because they're a paid sponsor on their TV channel or something, right? I mean, there's no telling what, but if we don't do it, how do we expect anyone? How can we expect TV 20 News to report on our events or anything like that if we're not willing to call them and tell them about it, right? We have to be able to put ourselves out there and willing to be on this platform or be out loud, right? You can't constantly stand behind the door and expect it to just open magically, right? We can't even stand behind that door and turn the handle. We got to kick that thing in, you know.
Right.
Like we have to change the narrative of what everyone's portraying about our people, right?
Yeah.
And us. Like
Yeah.
we're the only ones that can do it. Nobody else can tell my story better than me.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. So if you're watching this, you know, there's something that everybody can do. There's something that everybody can do, and it's not on the grand stream. The stuff that the smallest thing that someone do make a bigger impact.
Right.
I've seen it. Just telling your story to your local newspaper, letting them air that for about a day or two, and then the next person send their story. That's how it should be. As many people in recovery, there should be a story all the way down at these newspapers every day of how people are recovering.
Right.
How people are recovering, you know, and that will start changing the narrative of how the community sees us. That will start changing the narrative, because you know something is there's a lot of people that lost someone to this addiction. There's a lot of people that lost someone to this addiction that still think that people can't recover. Right. There's a lot of people. Prime example, I was talking to a mom that she was so clueless of addiction. She said, I couldn't believe my son was getting drugs in jail. I said, ma'am, there is drugs in jails. She said, I couldn't believe that was happening. I said, ma'am, yes, it happened. Yes. I didn't ostracize her. I didn't say, I educate her. I said, ma'am. And so then that told me she probably don't know about Narcan. She probably don't know about anything else that's going on or know the measures that can help somebody. And so I just started talking to her. And I just thought about that. I said, that's one person. How many more people are like that don't know?
Millions.
Millions.
Millions and millions and millions.
And you are correct. The only people that can educate people about us is us.
Right.
About our disease is us. It's us. You know, I was talking to a guy up in Tallahassee, and you know, he was a doctor, and the only thing he knew was medication assisted treatment, which is fine. It's a pathway to recovery. But we were there, we were in the room, and we started talking about the stuff after, you know, while someone doing MAT, you know, and I could see him. He was lighting up when we were all talking about what recovery community organizations do and what recovery community is doing and how people are getting the kids back and how this. And he was like, oh, man, this is good. This is good. But if we never went in that room, he would never got that side of it.
Well,
You know?
I mean, you would like to think, though, I mean, it's hard to sit here and say in 2022 that a doctor, right, doesn't know that side of it, right? Is it he doesn't know it or he doesn't care to see it, right? That to me, that's where the problem is, right? He's a doctor. He's not a dumb person. He's not ignorant. He's not naive. He's a doctor, right? He's a very smart person, right? So for me to sit here and think that he doesn't know about recovery, I can't do it. He just doesn't. It wasn't in his wheelhouse, right? It's not in his face, right? So his concern isn't what's going on in these people's lives or how do we change it? How do we break the cycle? It's, oh, what can I do for them right at this very moment, right? But it's not hard, right? It's not hard nowadays to find recovery, right? All you got to do is type recovery. I said it last week. Type recovery in your Google search and hit, I don't care what you hit images, videos, whatever you want, and it'll give you page after page after page after TED Talk, after motivational speaking. You couldn't even go through all of it, right? It would take you probably 3 months to go through just the word recovery on Google search, right? So the information is there. We have all the outlets. We have all of these different ways of finding out this information, right? It's just being open to it, right? Don't be naive and think that, oh, it can't happen to me or it can't happen to somebody I love, right? Like it'd be living in this bubble, right? Because you never know. You talked about it earlier, right? It's not just in the hood. It's not just in the trailer park. Right. It's everywhere, right? Yes. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
And I mean everywhere. Look at these shows that are on TV right now, right? HBO Max has got one. What is it? Euphoria, right? Talking about these kids in high school, and all they're doing is partying, and it's a good portrayal of what can happen, right? But man, it's such a dangerous show because it also shows the having fun side of it, right? Like, and if you're naive to what's going on and what's happening in that show, all you put blinders on, and like all you see is the fun part of it, right? And you don't see the other character that's like just absolutely falling apart and going through all the normal things that an addict goes through. But you have to take the blinders off, and it's not just us, right? It starts at the top, like you were talking about. These people that are in government positions that, you know, you can't tell me because of all the bad that you don't know anything about the good. No, you're just naive to it, right? And because it's not benefiting you, right?
Right.
And it's an unfortunate side of it, right? Because there are people up there that do benefit more from people being sick and needing them for MATs or whatever. I mean, come on, they get paid to prescribe that medication and stuff. So, you know, but sooner or later, all that stuff is going to become. It'll still happen, of course, but by us being on here and talking and having this conversation, you know, somebody might hear it and be like, oh yeah, you know what they were talking about is true. Like that is crazy, man. Let me type in recovery on Google and see what the hell comes up, because I want to know what these guys are talking about, right? That's all we can do. That's all we can do. I can't educate the world, but I can tell you, I can tell you what works for me and how I've got to where I'm at,
Yeah.
and there's no magic secret.
And that's all people want to know. People want to know. People want to know how you got there. You know, that's all you got is your story. You know, that's your greatest weapon is your story. It's yours. It's your story, and your story has power. You know, and I see it. I see it day to day. You know, I start telling people my story. I start telling them, hey, you know, where I came from and what I'm doing now. You know, we so quick to tell people what we did, but we don't tell people the stuff that we got, because two is sometimes we feel like we're not worthy to have this stuff.
Right.
You know, and I want a lot of people to stop that. You put the work into your life. You decided to put the drugs down, and you need to recover out loud and let people know. It ain't acting brand new. It ain't showboating. You put the work in. It takes a lot to stay away from drugs. It takes a lot of willpower. And if you reunited with your kids, or you got your car back, and you got a good job, and you close on your first house and all that, let that be known. Because somebody out there that's hope.
Right.
That gives somebody some hope. You know?
And even if you don't have all that, right?
Yeah.
If you're just living a happy life,
Right.
you're content, and you feel like a new person inside, right? You're living your best life physically, mentally, whatever. You know what I mean? It doesn't always have to be about the physical, about what you're getting in return, right? Like you buy a new car and stuff like that. The emotional and the stuff that you're gaining as a human being is more valuable than any of that stuff, right? The things that I learn about myself on a daily basis, or work on in myself to be a better person tomorrow, will always hold. It's priceless, right? And talking about stories, it just made me think about, like, this week. Me and my dad I forget, he was bringing me home from work. I don't remember where exactly we're coming from, right? And he said, I was watching you guys' Facebook Live a couple weeks ago, and you said something about you're willing to share your story with anybody that's willing to listen. And I said, yeah. I said, absolutely. And he goes, well, what does that mean? What does that mean that with anybody that'll listen? And I'm like, well, not everybody wants to hear it. You know what I mean? But I'm willing, if anybody wants to know what I've been through, I'm more than happy to explain, what I've been through and where I'm at now and how I got there. And he goes, yeah, but everything? And I said, absolutely everything. To the best of my ability, of course. You know what I mean? Like there's some things that, the conversation turned a little bit, but like, it brought up some resentments with him. You know what I mean? About some things that I did to them in my addiction. And he was like, well, is that part of your story? And like, you're not remembering. And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. And it's a big part of my story. You know what I mean? But like, there's nothing that I can do about it now. Right. So that's what makes it my story. Right. Doesn't make it the ending. It makes it part of my story up until this very point. But it's education like that, right? With somebody that's so close to me, that didn't understand what really I meant, and not to say that he has a grand understanding now, but he's a little bit more informed, and understands why it's important for me to be able to talk about everything that I've been through, right?
But the thing is, for your dad to be watching you on live, that's just monumental right there.
Yeah, absolutely. And
I don't know. Telling you,
I don't know if he watched it live or he watched the playback of it. But either way, the fact that he watching it, alone, is volume.
Because and then that speaks to that's my next thing is, you never know who's watching.
Right.
You never know who's watching. Like I told people, and I said it in Life Skills Saturday, and we talked about it last Friday. I said, man, tell them, look, you should have this mentality, you should have this attitude. Grab the popcorn, because I'm about to give you a show. Yeah. I'm about to show you how this recovery is going to work in my life. Right. And I'm going to do my thing, and and I'm doing it. And for me personally, and you're gonna be proud when you see it.
Right.
You know, and that's what he was telling you, that hey, I'm watching.
Right.
You
And
know,
what do we say last week about, you know, for the people that might not think your intentions are good, that you can do this, give them a front row seat.
yeah,
You know, let them sit front and center and watch you do what you need to do to be a better person. Right. That's the best form of detracting haters or showing people of, you know, what you're trying to do in your life, right? Is invite them in. Don't shun them. Don't keep them away from what you're doing. You want them to see that stuff. They
yeah,
need to see that stuff to help with their trauma, right? Their help with whatever you might have, whatever damage you did to them, to make them think that you weren't good enough or deserving enough to have all these good things that recovery brings, right? That might help them see you in a totally different light,
yeah,
right? And that's what it's all about, right?
yeah.
And not just for those people, but for the ones that are still out there fighting too, the ones that
Right.
are still battling this disease. You know, they need to somehow they've got to see it too. You know, they can't see all this, you know, all the statistics of overdoses and all that stuff. Like, that ain't gonna do nothing for them. It damn sure ain't gonna get that needle out their arm. You
And
know
I
what I
was just,
mean? Like,
and I was,
that's not going to stop them, because that's the you know, we kind of brushed on it a little bit earlier about, you know, the new norm now, and it's not even close to normal, right? But now we've gotten to a point where the overdose situation is so bad right now that it doesn't shock us
it doesn't.
Right.
It's
that
just
somebody
normal.
OD'd.
It's
You know what I
normal.
mean? Like, it doesn't. It's not even. I don't want to say it's not. We don't even blink an eye, because that's not true. But like, it doesn't phase us like it did 3 or 4 years ago. You
Yeah,
know what I mean? Like, I mean, like, oh man, I can't believe that this happened. Now it's like, you know, you're almost like, I saw that coming. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like, and I'm not trying to sound insensitive or anything like that, because that's not the case at all. But like,
Yeah.
it's happening
We're
so
desensitized
frequently.
to it.
Yeah, we're desensitized to it, right.
Yeah.
It's
Mhm.
happening so frequently and so often that you don't have a
But
chance to react.
but like a person told me, and a chief of police told me, and I say this all the time, and I want this to resonate with everybody that can watch this, and you may watch it live, or you may watch it on the next day or the day after. If this was homicides, if this was homicide, what will you be doing?
Right.
If this was your community, and your community had 10 people dying from somebody shooting in your little neighborhood, what would you do? You're gonna do
Yeah.
something about it. You're
Yeah,
gonna do something
absolutely.
about it. So we have to have that same mentality, and we got to say, hey, you know, we got to do something about this. We got to do something about it. And I was sitting there thinking about, you know, in my day to day, that, you know, at the state is really pushing out outreach. Everybody can do outreach. Everybody can get out there and go out there and reach somebody. Everybody can go out there and touch somebody and talk to somebody and just say, hey, you know, and or go back and know a friend or whatever, and just talk with them. You know, everybody can do something.
Yeah.
Everybody can do something.
Now it's a matter of just doing it, right?
Yes. Hmm.
It's not difficult. It's really not. Like, it's not hard to reach out to somebody wherever it is, right? Be it
Hmm.
on a Zoom meeting, be it an in-person meeting. That if you see somebody that might be struggling, to just reach out and tell them it's going to be okay,
Yeah.
and be there for them, right? Like, you
Yeah.
don't have to walk them hand in hand, but just let them know that you're there and you care about them,
Yeah.
right? Like, since when did we become desensitized to that? You know what I
Mm.
mean? Like, being there for somebody else. Like, man, like, selfless, not
Yeah.
selfish. That's
Yeah.
the key.
And
Be
the thing is,
selfless.
you know something. I was watching what was going on with Ukraine last night, and I was sitting on the news, and I had a sense of passion for that. I was like, man, I wanted to jump jump in the plane and go over there and fight. You some
Not
Marine
me.
Corps
You
stuff.
can have that. You can have that. I ain't going over there.
But that's just how
but
that's just how I love people.
Right.
You know, we have to get back to loving people. We have to get back loving our fellow man and women.
That's not the norm right now.
That's not the norm. And really, it's going to get to a point. If we don't do something, it's already to this point. We should not having people dying and ODing in bathrooms. We should not have people in parking lots ODing and dying. That's not the way. And if we don't do something as people in recovery, it's going to get worse where we're going to be stepping over people in the streets, laying down from dying.
Well, you know what? You know what we can do?
Yes.
We can go and recover on the square.
Yes, we can.
And be out loud and proud about it. That was a good segue. That was a good segue.
And I was getting ready to say this, that, how we were talking about getting involved. There is a recovery community organization in so many counties. And if it's not in Marion County, you can go to Volusia County, you can go to Flagler County, you can go to Pasco County, you can go to every county if you're watching this live and get involved with your local recovery community organization, because that's a way where you can get in the organization and recover out loud. And I'm not saying that because I'm a recovery community organization. I'm saying that because that's how people can get involved. It wasn't like that 10 years ago,
right?
And people that wanted to get involved mouth was shut. No, you can't do that. You can't do that. Now we want you to get involved. Now we want you to get involved. And and really, and those organizations are doing great. That's their role, is to advocate, educate, and get out there and let people know that there's a recovery community there. And and they're in every state. They are in every community. So if you're moving, if you don't know where one's at, you can get on Faces and Voices, and they'll show you on their map where one is in every state. If you want to know where in the state of Florida, get on Floridians for Recovery website. They'll show you where every recovery community organization is at. And that's your community.
Or just Google it.
Just Google it. Yeah, Google it. But there's something that everybody can do. And really, and man, I get the calls where people say, man, I wish I knew this was here.
Right.
Man, how long you been here? And then when they find out about it, they get involved, and then they start doing things.
Right. Well, let me tell you what. I mean, you talk about doing things, right? I'm gonna give a shout out to, all my people that come on our outreach meetings on Tuesday nights, right? Helping plan this event. They're about it. You know what I mean? They are about what we're doing. They're about making, putting out the best event that we can possibly do. And they're willing to do what needs to be done. Right now, that doesn't mean that we couldn't use the help, right? Like, I mean, of course we can always use more help. And that's the key. That's what we're doing it for, right? To show people that, hey, look at these people in recovery that are putting on these different events and doing things, and they're out in the community. Like, how can I get involved, right?
Yeah.
That's why we do it, right? Like, it's not for me. Like, I'm not getting paid to do this event. Like, I do it because I want to, because I know what it's going to mean to this community, right? I know what it's going to mean.
And that's why we're doing the event. It's not for Robert to look good. It's not for me. We're not doing this for gloating and all that. We're doing it so the recovery community can have a voice.
Right.
Because you know why? I ain't gonna say us peers was sick of overdosing and sick of hearing about our people dying. And we as a recovery community said, hey, let's do something about it. And they were fired up.
Well, see, and that's another thing. Like, we were talking about it the other night, right? Like, this event stemmed from an idea, right?
Yeah.
Just an idea of a question. And, and the question was, I said, has anything ever been done downtown on that square? Right? That was where it started. And then it went to this. And then we talked about a few weeks back about, has there been a recovery walk, right? In DC, like all these other walks, right? it starts with, like you said, it starts with something small, and you never know what it might turn into, right?
Yeah.
You never know. But if you're not, and this is going to go back to this quote from earlier, if you're not willing to develop new habits to be who you want to be, you're never going to get to see the fruits of that labor grow, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You're never going to be able to see where that little idea has turned into something great in your life. Like,
Right.
it won't happen, right? It just won't.
But you know something too, Phil, and I want to say this and really, hey, thank you, Miss Chrissy. I appreciate you saying that's a good message, and she was thanking us for what we do. I really appreciate you. Thank you for that. But I want to say this too is that, you know, by us fighting against each other, and by us, you know, trying to one up another organization and trying to do that, that's only hurting the people that we're serving.
Right,
That's
absolutely.
only hurting the people that we're serving, because we're fighting and mad at this agency over here because this agency doing that. We got to stop that.
Right.
If you are a person that running the agency and you are like that, you are hurting the people that you serving, because I have learned that when someone come to my door, they don't care. They coming for help. Right. They don't care where my funding come from. They don't care how many people I got on staff. They don't care. They just want the help. And we got to stop that. Yeah. We have to stop that. And it's in every community, every state. And if you listen to me, we are just killing our people by fighting against each other.
Right. Well, and two, you know, you have places that they're, you know, it's really hard to remain humble, right? Because, I mean, come on. You didn't start this, right? You didn't start 0 Hour Life Center for it not to be something, right? Something to provide income for you and your family. And then it also provides a service to those in need, right? That need the services that you provide, right? Mm-hmm. But a lot of places, what happens is that gets lost, right? Then it just becomes about serving my family and my income in my pocket, and they lose that connection, right, between their clients and the people that are coming into their door, and it becomes like a don't even care attitude. Too big for their britches, I guess is what you could say, right? To go back, I mean, like, that's kind of what happens. Like, it's one of those things where we cannot allow that. Like, we can't allow ourselves to lose focus on the reason why we're doing what we're doing, right? So if our Facebook Live tonight turned into me and you just talking about how great we were, right? Like what would be the point of us?
Right, would be the point. You're right.
Right. What's the point of it? I mean, we're not serving any purpose except a self-serving purpose, right? Of us stroking each other's ego and telling each other how great we are, right? And it's not even, but it's not that. That never will be my intention.
No, me either.
You know what I mean? Like, so it's just, man, it's so important for me to stay grounded in what I do and try to be as humble as I possibly can. Because I'm not going to lie to you and say that, you know, doing some of the things that I'm doing, like, that I don't want to pat myself on the back. You know what I mean? Because sometimes you do deserve to pat yourself on the back, right?
Right.
But I don't ever want it to be about me. Like,
no, me either.
I just can't. I can't do that. That's the old Phil. Is everything was me. And what? Right. How do I look right now? Like, you know, be it a job, a relationship, my everyday life, my family life.
But the thing is, Phil, and I was just thinking about that, is what if you went to your doctor? I know I've been to doctors. I never heard my doctor say, well, you know, Dr. So-and-so across the street, he's this. Yeah. You would be like, why are you talking?
I ain't gonna lie. I have been to a doctor that did that.
I ain't never heard that.
Yeah, I have. And it was weird, right? And
yes, it's weird.
You hear it about, so I work in restaurants, right? And I've heard that all the time. Oh, you don't want to go to that restaurant. You know what I mean? Like, you seen their health inspections, or, you know, all this stuff, like just bad mouthing. And I've been to a doctor that, you know, he was like, oh, who else have you seen? And when I told him the comments that he had, I was like, wow, that's the most unprofessional thing I've ever been a part of. Right. And the last thing I want to hear. But yeah, it happens, right? And but we can't do that.
Yeah,
We can't do that in the recovery, especially not in the recovery community, right? Like I don't ever want anybody to misconstrue anything that I might say as anything other than recovery based, right? I don't care how you get your recovery, where you get your recovery, as long as you're getting it, like that's what matters to me.
That's right.
As long as you're working your program and trying to be the best you, that is all I care about. It does not matter to me. I don't see color. I don't see what denomination you are. I don't see what political affiliation. I don't see what groups you go to, what groups you don't go to. I don't care. As long as you're getting what you need to stay and maintain your recovery, that's all I care about. And just know I'm here for you if you ever need me. Right. That's what it's all about. Being here for that next person.
And we can't afford to have division in recovery, because when recovery is divided, people are dying.
Yeah.
And we got to stop it. We got to unite as a recovery community. And you know, if you are celebrate recovery, if you're faith-based recovery, if you are in the rooms, or if you whatever, you know, the key word is recovery.
Right.
And it doesn't matter if I'm a black man that's doing recovery or if you a woman that do recovery. It doesn't matter. And we gotta bring back recovery as one big community.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it's only hurting the people that we serve, and only hurting the people that, and really it only hurt the people that's coming to us to get the help.
Right.
Because sooner or later, if you are speaking that language, talking about so and so across the street is doing this, your people that's coming to your groups and coming to your agency are gonna start thinking that too.
Right.
And that's not right.
No good.
That's not no good, and that's not no good to anybody. So, man, I'm fired up.
I am too. I'm fired up. I'm stuffed up. You name it. I'm up.
Hey, this was good, man. Look, hey, we got the t-shirts. Fired up for recovery. $15 donation. Hey, come and get, man. They going like hotcakes, and man, I like it.
Because and ain't nobody getting none for free. We ain't giving nothing away for free.
It's a 15 donation, but the thing is that, man, this is a movement, brother. This is a movement. We're getting people fired up about recovery, man, and really, 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 man, we about sold out of them. We still got plenty, but man, they moving like hotcakes. And really, man, this is a movement for us, not just Robert and Phil to start this. Nah, man, this is a movement that we're trying to get people fired up about their recovery. And man, I put this invitation out there to people. You know, hey, me and Philip doing this every Friday, but if you want to join in and get fired up about your recovery, let us know. Let us know. We throw a person on here.
Yeah, I think we need to do that next week. I mean, we've done it now. This is our fourth one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to invite somebody on here.
Yeah. So if you want to be on here and you and like everything else, don't make me call you. Because I'm gonna call you. I got some great people in mind that I would love to have you on here. But if you want to get on here, and don't be scared, hey man, look, we just having a dialogue. We just going off of what we see during the week, how we see recovery in our lives, and we're just going over here, and we'd like to add a third person on here. And really, what we were talking about, we'd like to get a woman's point of view.
Yeah, absolutely.
We would like to get a woman's point of view on here, because you know, sometimes there may be a young lady watching this, and you know, I love to have a woman on here that would love to explain how they fired up about their recovery. So, hey, tomorrow, Phil, I'm so excited. I'm going to the grand opening of Florida of recovery schools. Shout out to Anna Reed. I'm going up there. Me and Miss Mary going up there, and we're going to support that movement tomorrow. I'm so excited. And you know, Florida recovery schools, hey, they doing great things with our youth, you know. So shout out to Anna Reed. There she go. I see you. So
hey, and we need to get Anna Reed involved in this recovery on the square too now. I mean, I know she got a lot of great ideas.
I didn't really bother her because she had to get her, she had her grand opening, and so and she's doing coffee and conversation with us.
Well, you know what? To be honest with you, I can't wait. I just want her to show up.
Yeah.
Right? I just want her to show up because she was there with us at Recovery Walk,
Yeah.
right? Our first kind of really big event. And what a difference the second big event's gonna be, you know.
Yeah.
And a lot of that comes from, you know, she had some great ideas for us, you know. So
I'll talk to her on the slide tomorrow, Phil. Don't worry.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she said it's 3 days before my 40th birthday on June 4th. It's always on my schedule.
Anna, you need to stop lying. You know you ain't nothing but about 35.
But you know something, Phil, that what I like about this event coming up in June, the peers did it.
Yeah.
The people, the voice that is not the voices that are not heard, and now their voice is going to be heard.
Yeah.
And that's really why I didn't go out there and do all this. I let the peers do it. Really. I let people that not normally get involved doing something, now they got involved in doing something, and now they can see that they matter. And so, and really, you know, and that was and that's what I'm always thinking. I'm always thinking about somebody that really that want to do something. And tell you the truth, you know, I understand this live. We was talking about getting involved. There's a lot of people that want to get involved, but they're scared. I totally understand.
Yeah,
absolutely. I was scared at one point too. I was not always this way. I was scared.
Well, you know, it's funny. It's funny that you even say that, right? Because it just makes me laugh, right? Because we had our outreach meeting one week and we were talking about it, and I'm like, listen, because of the peers that are involved, I just want to take a back seat, and you know what I mean? I'll fill in gaps. Whatever you guys need me to do, I'll be there. And then what happened the next week? You know what I mean? You were like, hey, Phil, I need your help, right? And now it was a blessing, right? Because the things that are happening, it was the ball was dropped in the best possible way. You know what I mean? Like, because now, man, it's just so great to see. And I can't speak highly enough about the people that have been helping with it. You know what I mean? Like, and I'll shout them out, Jillian and Aspasia, like, and Steve, like, amazing. Miss Ayana, that's jumped on this past Tuesday. Like, we've got some people that are so dedicated to not just this event, right, to their recovery. And you can see it. You see it in you just see it in the way, you hear it in the way they talk, you see it in their face. And it's amazing to be part of, you know, and I'm glad that I'm not taking that back seat role.
But the thing is too, is that there's a lot of people that's out. There's a lot of people that's not coming to the outreach committee meeting, but still doing things behind the scenes. You know, there's a lot of people still doing, if you buy a t-shirt, if you're doing something, that's recovery. Well, if you donate it and you get a t-shirt, that's recovery. That's helping somebody else. So I want to make sure that we really highlight that, and really, because, you know, somebody ain't at that level yet. But they coming. And the more and more things we do as a recovery community, watch more and more people get in it. Watch more and more people get in it, and watch more and more people get in it. But it's my role to go out there and ignite the fire. And that's what it is. My role is to ignite the fire and get people fired up about it. And yes, it's not going to always be Phil, Steve, Space. There's going to be some other people, because I'm seeing it. I'm seeing it more and more people, like your Randys, your Desirees, and
well, that's what's funny. That's what's funny. What happened last Monday? What was that conversation we had? You said, I just want to get on there and fire them up. I said, well, what do you think I'm doing, Rob? I'm firing them up. Like, I got you.
But did I get on there?
Nope. And guess what? We fired up.
But I want to say,
you got a team now.
Right. But I wanted to say, you know, it makes my heart jump to see Randy and Desiree, because a couple months they were in a bad spot, just to see them fired up and see them doing things. That's what it's supposed to be doing. And so I want to, anybody's watching this, okay? Slow, steady pressure. Take your time. It's going to get there. You know, don't look at me and get timid by this. I was not always this guy. I was early in my recovery, and you can look at the videos back in 2017. I was scared and I was timid. And it took this building this up to who I am to be.
And there was a reason why you were always by yourself. Nobody else could get a word in edgewise.
Right. Hey, but look, hey, I appreciate you, brother, man. And
Yeah, me
look,
too, man. I got to get out of this patio.
And look, like I said, man, we're looking to get some more people to do this with us. So if you want to do that, or if you just want to tell your story, there's a lot of platforms that, I can get you plugged in to tell your story, and really, and we got to get out there and start doing things. I appreciate everybody that's doing stuff in your community for recovery. I want to shout that out. There are some great people out there doing some good stuff. All right. I don't want to take that from anybody. So, let's all get fired up about it.
Fired up.
Yes. So
Mary, hey, those are Mary's cues for us to wrap it up.
Yeah. I ain't got nothing else, brother. I appreciate it, man.
Me either. Just maybe some more clarity in my future. That's all
right.
I got.
So look, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next Friday for Fired Up for Recovery.
Peace. Yep. See ya.
All right.